One of the biggest challenges around my weight has always been consistency or inconsistency. I consistently ate too much food. I consistently snacked too often. I consistently used food as a crutch, as a way to manage my emotions, and as a way of just pushing down anything that was trying to surface. Conversely, my inconsistencies have been I've been inconsistent with staying to a healthy diet or exercise program. I've been inconsistent about looking at what I need to do to change and improve my life. I've been inconsistent about being truthful with myself about where I am and what I need to change. I've been trying, since I started this GLP1 journey, to be more consistent right the way across the board. I've been trying to be consistent about the food choices I'm making, about when and how often I'm eating, about drinking water regularly, trying to get in my 2 litres of water a day. I've been trying all these things consistently. I've just joined a gym. Anyone who saw my video from the weekend knows that I went to a gym by my sister's house, and that got me over my fear of actually walking into a gym, the fear of being judged. So I've come back home and I've joined a gym. And as I did it, one of the thoughts in the back of my mind was, I wonder how long this will last. Which I had to catch that thought immediately, because that's a really negative, immediate thought to have when you've just forked over your money. I know that I'm not the only one that has those thoughts. And I know that I'm probably not the only one that's had a thought of, not even I'll wonder if I'll gain the weight back. I know I had a thought that said, when I gain the weight back. That's not a conscious thought, that's an unconscious thought. One I'm trying very hard to ignore, because I think that's just what's happened all of the other times that I've been on any kind of diet or exercise program. So like I said, I handed over this money, I signed my name, I got my little card that I check in and out with. And the immediate thought was, I wonder how long this will last, or I wonder what their cancellation policy is. I wonder how much notice I have to give. Will I keep turning up, or will this just be a bill that rolls over every month and I'm not attending the gym? I don't want it to be that, but I have an awareness of my history that I have done these things in the past. Like I said, my goal in all of this is to remain consistent. And I'm 11 months in now. I'm doing really well on the consistency around what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, etc. I have the odd day where I want to eat too much, or I want to eat foods I know that aren't good for me. But overall, I've been the most consistent I've ever been in my life, I think. Which is huge. That's a fundamental change. Now, how much of that is me? How much of that is the GLP1, Manjaro in my case? I'm not sure. It's probably a split, but I know that I'm doing some of the heavy lifting when it comes to this. I know it's not just all of the medication, because there are times when I can make the easy choice and I choose not to. I stay consistent. I have a goal and I'm aimed at that goal right now, and I'm doing everything within my power, sensibly, to get there. Adding the gym is the next step for me. It's the next stage. I'm craving more exercise. I'm looking forward to it. Today I went to the gym at, I think it was about 12:30, something like that. And I left at 10 to 4. I am aware that I have a boom or bust mentality. I throw myself into things and I'm great for the first couple of weeks, maybe even months, and then it starts to fade away. So I'm going in with that knowledge, and I'm trying to acknowledge it when it comes up, those thoughts when they appear in my head. So I went all in today. I mean, I really went all in today. I did a circuit of the gym. I did all of the machines in the gym. I was still intimidated by the weights suite, as they call it, because it's putting the weights onto the bars. I don't know how much I can lift, so I kind of avoided it. But anyway, so I did a full circuit. I did some cardio to start off with. I'm quite liking the rowing machine, and I did a full circuit, 3 reps on each machine. 3 reps of 3 times 10 reps. I haven't even got the language, people. I haven't even got the language yet. Each machine I went on, I did 10 reps, and then I did that 3 times, if that makes sense. Somebody give me the language that I need to be able to explain it. There's a part of me that wants to go back tomorrow and do exactly the same thing. But I also know that, again, this boom or bust, feast or famine mentality that I get, I could burn myself out. So I'm not going to go in tomorrow. I'm not going to do anything at the gym tomorrow. I might stay at home and do a few weights. I might do a bit of my trampoline. I might get on the treadmill tomorrow. But I'm not going to the gym. And I'm not going swimming. Because that's the other thing I did. I did like an hour and a half, 2 hours in the gym, and then I went swimming and I did 25 lengths of the pool. Again, it's the excitement, because I think we all can get very excited about taking on something new. If you remember when you started taking a GLP1, I'm sure you were watching 20 vlogs a night. You were looking for people to watch. You were eager for information. You wanted to throw yourself in. You were tracking everything. You were researching and reading papers that maybe you didn't understand, or, just trying to get as much detail as you can. Some of you maybe just stuck the needle in your stomach and that was it. You didn't think about it until the next week. But a lot of people, when they commit to something, they want to learn, they want to maximize their knowledge. They want to get into it as much as they can because they think they'll be as successful as they can. There is something in that. I mean, there is something in that excitability, but there is also something around keeping it within reason or moderation and being consistent. And I found, I write down quotes all the time, things that I find and I enjoy. And obviously this is all around change and things like that. And one of the ones I picked up was, change isn't built on intensity, it's built on consistency. So when I was in the gym today, giving it my all and everything, there's probably a small part of my brain that thinks I'm going to walk out and I'm going to be completely buff and, do people still say buff? That I'm going to walk out and I'm going to be completely, stacked and, look like I've been at the gym forever. Of course, that's not going to happen. It takes consistency, repetition, and resistance or weight builds the muscle, So change isn't built on intensity. It's built on consistency. And I've got to try and remember, I am actually going to write that down for myself. But the other thing I saw was, when you stay consistent, you build trust with yourself. It's about knowing that you can count on yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do here. That's what I'm trying to develop, is a trust in myself, where I've let myself down so many, many times over the years, broken my promises to myself, cried about breaking those promises to myself, promised to make new promises to myself. And yet I kept failing. I kept not meeting the standard that I wanted to set myself. And there's obviously something more to that. There is a self-sabotaging element to that. I think there is a part of me that is quite self-destructive and uses any excuse to not engage with the healthy behaviour. But I've done so much work over this past 11 months. And that's why I do these midweek musings, because I think a lot of us are in the position where we need to stay on top of our thoughts, stay on top of what we're doing, be vigilant about how we go forward. Some people, like I said, they are just taking the medication once a week and they're not really thinking about it too much. But others, the medication is solving the craving, the hunger, and potentially the food noise. But there's other underlying issues there that need work and attention. I come here each Wednesday to try and engage with you so that we can look at some of those. And I use myself as an example of that because I've got really unhealthy habits, unhealthy mind viruses, unhealthy history. So I use myself as an example for you, and not everyone's going to relate. And some people might relate to some of it, but not all of it. But what I try and do when I do these musings is just try and get you to engage with anything that rings a bell with you, anything that you think, yeah, I do that a little bit. And it might only be a little bit, and that's great. These GLP-1 medications, they don't solve everything. I don't know, but if I was to stop tomorrow, I would try my best to try and maintain this, but I know that I'm fighting other things, not just the food noise, the hunger, the cravings. I'm fighting a lifetime of dysfunctional thinking around food, around exercise, around behaviours, about my personality even. All I'm saying is I think that, again, these GLP-1s, they give us a pause, they give us a break in normal programming to be able to, take some time and look at these dysfunctional thoughts, unhealthy habits, historical ways of being, and just allow us to think, is there a better way that I can address this? And very often there is. If you're happy how you are and what you're doing, then carry on. Although I would argue, if you have come to a GLP-1, you're probably not happy about your weight and want to do something about it. I think it's so important that when we recognise something in ourselves, we just take a little minute to register that and see if there's something within our own power that we can do about it. I know how to exercise, not all the way. I'm going to learn, but I know roughly what I should be doing, and I haven't been doing it for about 20 years. Like, legitimately, I haven't been doing it. I used to have 2 very active dogs, and I used to take them out twice a day, every day, come rain or come shine, over the fields, moors, hills, whatever. And I was healthy in the sense that I could walk far and I could walk up hills and things like that. And I kidded myself that I was fit and healthy. I wasn't. I was just familiar with the walks that I was doing with them all the time. And I did notice that those walks got harder as I got bigger. So certainly doing all of those walks and those hills and dales and moors might have helped me a little bit, but I was very often out of breath and my heart was banging in my chest. So I know, I've seen that side. Now I'm trying to apply this knowledge and actually do some targeted exercise, but not throw myself in too hard, because that will make me throw the towel in. I recognise that about myself. The other thing I wrote down on here, like I said, I must have been listening to a podcast because I've got several on here. But it does say, do one thing today that your future self will thank you for, and then do another tomorrow. So for me, I have done one thing that is good for my health today. I've joined the gym. I've been to the gym. I've done a session. I'm going to do something different tomorrow because, like I said, I recognize in myself that going too hard, too fast, too soon, I can wear myself out mentally as well as physically. But I am going to do something tomorrow to improve my health. I will add something tomorrow just as an acknowledgement that I'm building on yesterday's behaviour. So today, the gym, tomorrow, the trampoline, Friday, again, maybe the gym again. All I'm saying is if we can do something consistently, and that's why I've reissued myself the September challenge. I did it in March and I went through the whole of March and I smashed that month. I absolutely smashed it. Interestingly, it was one of the biggest weight loss months that I have, even though I didn't change the way I was eating. And that was just exercising 3 times a week, drinking 2 litres of water every day, and making sure I got between 90 and 120 grams of protein. That's kind of what I'm doing now. But by targeting it and saying I want to do it 3 times consistently, it kept me motivated. Coming on here also kept me motivated. So if you have signed up for the September challenge, leaving a muscle emoji in the comments, thank you everybody that did. That's all I ask of you is sign up to this. Like I said, you don't have to tell anybody about it. You don't even have to check in with me at the end of the month. I'm not going to tally up whether you said you were going to do it and whether you did or not. This is about your own integrity. This is about your own accountability and what you're doing for yourself. So don't worry, I'm not going to come and say, hey, you put the strong emoji or the muscle emoji on the 1st of September. Did you follow through? You'll know, and we're our own harshest critics. So you don't need me coming back and telling you, you didn't do it, you said you would, but you know it yourself. So, September challenge, accepted. So today is the 3rd of September. So I am on my 2nd round of exercise for this week. And this one was in the gym. So this one was a hardcore one rather than just a home workout. So that's 2 down for me. I've got 1 more to do this week. I actually feel I'll accomplish more. I might do 4. I'll try and stop before I get to 5 because again, the burnout is real. But yeah, if you haven't seen my video from Sunday, where I nearly crashed my channel because I posted it too late in the day. If you haven't seen that, you can go and have a look at that. But you can also leave the strong emoji in the comments below if you do want to join based on what you've seen today. So I'm going to leave it here for now. I will be back again on Saturday and we can catch up with where we are, what I've done, if I've made my target for the week, which I think I'm going to, and anything else that I think. Plus it'll be my weigh-in. Okay, I'll see you then. Hey, this is post-video Ginger. I am going to ask you if you can like and subscribe. I am trying very hard to get to 2,000 subscribers. That is a personal challenge for me. If you do watch and you haven't subscribed already, please do think about it. If you want to give me a thumbs up because you like what I have to say, please do. And like I said, I always try and answer all of the comments, and I think I'm about 90% caught up on comments now. So if you still have an outstanding comment, there will be a response coming from me soon.